A man said to have a history of mental illness wounds his neighbor and plunges to death in Wong Tai Sin, possibly over a noise dispute. Mercury at a Tuen Mun beach hits a sweltering 40+ degrees Celsius as Hongkongers bake in year-high heat. And new CCTV footage emerges in Nonthaburi school shooting, as Thai police say 14-year-old gunman has searched online for videos of U.S. school shootings. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Quentin Yang. A mentally disturbed man allegedly stabbed his neighbor at Upper Wong Tai Sin estate before jumping to his death. Police believed the incident may have stemmed from a noise dispute and have classified it as attempted murder and suicide. Jeremy Zhu has more details.
Security staff reported the case at around 7:30 a.m. after finding the 26-year-old victim bleeding heavily in a lift. Although conscious, he had sustained more than 10 cuts across his body. Paramedics pressed on his neck to stem the bleeding before rushing him to hospital. Just minutes later, the 46-year-old attacker was discovered dead on the estate's podium after falling from a height at Chu Sin House. A heavy police presence quickly sealed off the lift lobby for investigation. A neighbor described the deceased as quiet, often keeping to himself. He would answer softly if greeted, but otherwise kept no contact, she said. Police stated that the suspect had a history of mental illness. Inside his flat, officers recovered blood-stained trainers and a chopper allegedly used in the attack. Investigators believe the suspect planned the attack, concealing the knife inside a shopping bag before entering the lift to strike as the victim headed downstairs. Authorities added that there was a history of noise complaints between the two households, with previous disputes logged, though never formally reported to the police. According to reports, the suspect had earlier applied to the housing department for a flat transfer, which had been granted, and was awaiting his new home at the time of the incident. The Social Welfare Department stated that social workers have contacted the affected families to provide appropriate assistance. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
A heat wave is gripping Hong Kong, bringing temperatures to as high as 40 degrees Celsius in some districts. The observatory's very hot weather warning has been enforced as Tropical Cyclone Dolphin's outer subsiding air fuels the prolonged heat. Evelyn Bai reports.
On this first day after Li Chiu, the start of autumn in the Chinese solar calendar, Hong Kong was still sweltering with the sun blazing relentlessly. A beach in Tuen Mun recorded a blistering 40.1 degrees Celsius, driving residents to take the plunge, hoping to cool themselves off. One mother, who brought her son out to play, said they had come prepared with water and would take breaks in the shade. In Yuen Long, temperatures topped 37 degrees, with some domestic helpers seeking shade and carried water to stay hydrated.
This season is very extreme hot, feeling 45 degrees. We must be go out because holiday, our holiday. Cannot stay at home.
One man said he had been out for just 15 minutes and was dripping with sweat, adding that he would not be able to exercise for long. The observatory said Dolphin was moving towards Zhejiang and northern Fujian, while its outer subsiding air would keep the city baking over the next couple of days. Temperatures could hit 37 degrees or above in some areas, with the heat expected to persist into midweek. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
In Japan, Typhoon Dolphin has cut power to more than 50,000 households and injured 5 people. Although gradually moving away from Okinawa and the Amami Islands, forecasters warn the storm will continue to bring severe weather as it drifts westward. Jeremy Zhu has more.
Despite moving away, Typhoon Dolphin remains a potent threat. Amami has been battered by high winds and torrential rain, with some areas recording up to 500 millimeters of rainfall, which is 1.6 times the average for the entire month of August. Along the coast of Okino-Erabu Island, the storm continues to churn up massive waves. Meanwhile, in Okinawa, wind gusts on the western side of the main island reached speeds of approximately 132 kilometers per hour, forcing the closure of a major bridge to traffic. In Nago City, fierce wind overturned a car, shattering its windscreen and causing fuel to leak. Several people were reportedly injured, including an 80-year-old man knocked down by the gusts. Shops and department stores have stayed shut, with sandbags stacked at entrances against flooding. Naha Airport reopened at 11 a.m., but hundreds of flights were still cancelled, affecting more than 54,000 travelers. Although Okinawa and Amami are edging out of the storm zone, Dolphin's outer circulation and slow movement mean prolonged impact. The Meteorological Agency warns of heavy rain and giant waves up to 10 meters. In the next 24 hours, rainfall could reach 120 millimeters across Okinawa, Amami, and southern Kyushu. Jeremy Chu, Cable News.
Meanwhile, Mainland's Meteorological Agency has issued an orange typhoon alert, forecasting Super Typhoon Dolphin to make landfall along the coast between Zhejiang's Zhoushan and Fujian's Fuding from Sunday night into early Monday.
Typhoon Dolphin is drenching parts of eastern China, with Shanghai and Jiangsu among the worst-hit areas. Up to 400 millimeters of rain could fall in some regions, and more than 600 millimeters in eastern Zhejiang, where streets have already been flooded. Zhejiang has raised its typhoon emergency response to level 2. Transport has also been disrupted, with 40 Fujian ferry routes suspended. Ningbo Airport halting flights from 11:30 p.m. tonight, with full suspension tomorrow. Some rail services will also pause.
Thai police are examining the online activity of a 14-year-old teenager who carried out a deadly school shooting outside Bangkok before killing himself, as the death toll has climbed to 9 after a 12-year-old girl died from her injuries. Evelyn Bai reports.
Newly released surveillance footage showed the attacker opening fire at Dapsurin Nonthaburi school around 10 a.m. He first fired into a classroom before targeting others on the same floor, then fled to another building, where he turned the weapon on himself. Armed officers later scoured the building, helping children to evacuate. Police believe the teenager also killed his grandparents at their home prior to the school attack. His uncle told investigators the boy had lived with his grandparents since childhood, spent long hours playing computer games, and generally kept to himself. A search of the teenager's computer found that he played violent video games and had a browsing history about a school shooting in the United States, with the searches dating back to July 30th. Police have not concluded that the games or search history contributed to the attack, but are continuing to explore other factors, including any issues the teenager may have faced at school. The boy's father said his son was guilty of carrying out the shooting, but he did not know his motive. On Saturday morning, family and friends of the victims collected the bodies of the deceased from a morgue in Bangkok, while other mourners paid tribute to the victims outside the school. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Back to Hong Kong, more than 6,000 families have joined forces to demand a freeze on the minimum wage for foreign domestic helpers, warning that another pay rise could force them to let their helpers go.
The Coalition of Global Home Service Sustainable Development and the Quadripartite Alliance for Harmonious Employment Practices, together with 30 employers, made the appeal at a meeting with officials from the Labor and Welfare Bureau, Labor Department, Immigration Department, and Police. The group said their survey last month found that over 97% of employers wanted the minimum wage and food allowance kept at current levels of $5,100 and $1,236 per month, while 84% said another increase would be unaffordable and could lead to dismissals. The group said helpers' basic pay had risen 7.8% over the past 3 years, outpacing overall inflation. When visa fees, medical insurance, and other costs are added, employers are already spending about $11,000 each month. Many employers themselves are unemployed or have taken pay cuts or freezes, said Christy Lam, the CGHS DHK president. Rather than across-the-board increases, the groups proposed a performance-based system, allowing employers to reward high-performing helpers. They also urged the government to establish a database showing helpers' contract breaking and complaint records. The Labor Department reportedly responded positively to the proposals. The employer's appeal came weeks after domestic worker unions called for the monthly wage to be raised to $6,670, and the food allowance more than doubled to $2,770, citing inflation and rising living costs.
A lifeguard at a private estate pool was arrested over an allegedly fake qualification, prompting concerns about how easily fake documents can be obtained online and the rigor of outsourced background checks. Jeremy Zhu tells us more.
The licensed pool at a high-end Happy Valley estate was closed on Thursday after it was found to have employed a lifeguard with false papers. The 22-year-old man was arrested the following day on suspicion of using forged documents. On the shopping platform Taobao, at least 4 shops advertised document printing services. When our reporter asked about producing a Hong Kong lifeguard card, one seller redirected communication to WeChat and quoted around 300 Chinese yuan versus the official certification process used to cost around 5,000 Hong Kong dollars. A former lifeguard with 10 years' experience told Cable News that staff usually show cards issued by the Hong Kong Life Saving Society before duty, but their authenticity is rarely checked. Lifeguards usually work independently, she explained, so their cards are rarely verified. Outdated photos could also allow imposters to use documents belonging to someone who looks similar. She added that when lifeguards fail to show up, some outsourcing firms knowingly bring in unlicensed substitutes to avoid penalties or complaints. In response, the Life Saving Society revealed it has developed a digital verification system to make future checks easier. All lifeguards will be required to switch to updated verification cards with QR codes, with full implementation targeted for this month. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
The city recorded its first pediatric flu death of the year after a vaccinated 7-year-old boy died from influenza A H3 complications. A specialist warned that vaccine immunity can wane and the city is facing a triple-demic of respiratory illnesses, with the summer flu season yet to peak. Evelyn Bai reports.
Commenting on this year's first pediatric flu death, Mike Kwan, Honorary Associate Professor at the University of Hong Kong's Department of Pediatrics and Adolescent Medicine, said in a radio program that the isolated case will need further analysis, including the individual's immune reactions and inherited disease. He said vaccination did not completely rule out serious complications, as the level of protective antibody in the body gradually declines over time. By the end of July, 12 children in the city had developed serious complications related to influenza. Kwan noted a higher number of severe pediatric hospitalizations compared with last year. He added that although children are out of school, they still take part in group activities such as summer classes and gatherings, where cross-infection are widespread, urging parents to have their children vaccinated. Meanwhile, he cautioned that the city is facing a triple-demic involving COVID, influenza, and respiratory syncytial virus, and that the current summer flu season is yet to peak. Speaking to reporters, Kwan also alerted that flu outbreaks are widespread across Asia and urged residents traveling abroad to stay vigilant.
And when we come back to Hong Kong, if we have symptoms related or just like flu symptoms, it's better to consult doctors and also tell the doctor about your travel history.
Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
British police investigating the murder of Reform UK spokeswoman Anne Whitcomb have reopened a cold case into an attempted break-in in London, revealing potential overlooked clues that could be tied to her death.
The attempted break-in, which took place in April last year, targeted the South London home of party leader Nigel Farage. The initial investigation was closed without any arrests, but officers reviewing the case files found missed leads that could help solve the high-profile murder. The discovery has prompted an official investigation into the police force, with the independent watchdog examining whether an officer failed to properly pursue the original case. A 28-year-old man was arrested and charged last month with murdering the 78-year-old former government minister, who was found dead at her Devon home in July.
On to the weather now. Mainly fine, extremely hot during the day. Temperatures will range between 29 and 36 degrees. And that's our news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.